All right, today we are diving into one of the most intense, powerful, and, let's be honest, seriously misunderstood novels out there, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. So, let's head out onto those wild, stormy moors and figure out why this is absolutely not the love story you were told it was.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way right now. Forget everything you think you know about classic romance. I mean it. If you're looking for a cozy, heartwarming story to curl up with, you have come to the wrong place. This book is something else entirely.
So if it's not a love story, then what on earth is it? Well, that's where we're going to start. We're going to look at how this novel just completely shattered the expectations of its time, and in doing so, created something way darker and a whole lot more complicated. I mean, you gotta picture the Victorian era, right? It's all about strict social rules and these very proper, idealized romance novels. And then bam, this book drops. It's this emotionally violent, haunting story about obsession that just threw all the rules out the window. Brontë wasn't trying to write a nice, neat romance. She was digging deep into the messy, chaotic, and destructive heart of human passion. And that brings us to what really drives this whole story. It isn't love. It's love's twisted, ugly shadow. Revenge. A cycle of vengeance that spans generations and poisons absolutely everyone it touches. So let's find out where this whole fire got started. Okay, so it all boils down to one single catastrophic decision. Catherine shares this incredibly deep, almost elemental soul connection with Heathcliff, the orphan her father brought home. But she decides to marry Edgar Linton, who is wealthy, proper, and socially a much better match. And this betrayal, it doesn't just break Heathcliff's heart, it completely shatters him as a person. It turns all that pain and love into a cold, calculated, lifelong mission for revenge. And get this, the way we even hear this story is super unconventional. It's not told to you straight. Instead, you have to piece it all together from the stories of two totally different narrators, and they're both pretty biased. You've got Mr. Lockwood, the new guy in town, and Nelly Dean, the housekeeper who saw the whole thing go down. So you're constantly having to ask yourself, can I really trust this version of the story? Their memories and their judgments color everything. Now, at the absolute core of this whole conflict are two completely opposite worlds, and they're symbolized by two very different houses. This is where the biggest ideas in the novel really come to life.
This contrast is everything. On one side, you have Wuthering Heights. Think wild, stormy, passionate, just like the rugged moors it's built on. This is Heathcliff and the Earnshaw's home. And on the other side, you have Thrushcross Grange. It's the total opposite, civilized, calm, safe. It's all about social rules and being proper. The whole novel is basically a war between these two forces.
And of course, this same exact conflict plays out in the two men who are after Catherine. Heathcliff is Wuthering Heights in human form. He's raw, wild, a victim who becomes a total villain. And Edgar Linton? He's basically Thrushcross Grange walking around. He's civilized, he's stable, but he just doesn't have that fire Catherine shares with Heathcliff. So her choice isn't just about two guys. It's a choice between two completely different ways of being alive. Okay, so let's get into the themes that make this book so incredibly powerful and, frankly, so unsettling. We're moving past the what happened and into the psychological storm that is just raging inside these characters. This so-called love between Heathcliff and Catherine, yeah, it's about as far from romantic as you can get. It's this primal, all-consuming obsession. It's not about making each other happy. It's about possessing each other, mind and soul. Their connection is on a whole other level, beyond normal right and wrong, which is exactly what makes it so terrifying and so fascinating. And this right here is Heathcliff's fuel. His pain doesn't just make him sad, it curdles into this ice-cold, brilliant plan for revenge. And not just against the people who hurt him, but against their children too. This is what makes him one of the greatest and most complicated anti-heroes ever written. You see his pain, you get why he's so broken, but wow, you absolutely cannot excuse the cruelty. And you can't talk about any of this without talking about the world they're in. That rigid Victorian class system is really the silent villain of the story. Catherine's decision to marry Edgar, it's almost entirely about climbing the social ladder. And that one choice, driven by class, is what sets off the entire tragedy. It just shows you the devastating price of a society that cares more about your status than your soul. You know, the way Brontë writes perfectly captures this whole conflict. Her descriptions of the moors are so beautiful and poetic, you feel like you can smell the heather. But then she'll hit you with these scenes of emotional and physical cruelty that are just so direct and brutal, it takes your breath away.
It's a style that's as unique and unforgettable as the stories she's telling.
So the big question is, why are we still reading and arguing about this dark, emotionally exhausting novel more than 170 years after it was written? What is its magic? What gives it this incredible staying power?
Well, for one thing, its strengths are just off the charts. The characters are so messy and psychologically complex that you literally can't look away. The way it portrays obsessive love is like nothing else you'll ever read, and that stormy, gothic atmosphere is practically a character itself. It's one of those books that just gets under your skin and stays there for good.
That said, let's be real, this book is not for everybody. I mean, the characters are just relentlessly cruel to each other, and it can be draining to read. The whole layered story within a story thing can be confusing if you're not paying attention. And if you're someone who needs a nice, tidy ending where the good guys win, yeah, you are not going to find it here.
So what's the final take? Wuthering Heights is definitely not a comforting book, but it is, without a doubt, a masterpiece. It's a raw, powerful, and challenging novel that forces you to look at the violent, obsessive, darker parts of human nature, all the stuff we usually try to pretend isn't there.
And that brings us to a final rating of a very, very strong 4.5 out of 5. That score feels right, you know? It captures the book's immense power and influence, while also admitting that, hey, this is an experience that's going to challenge you, not comfort you.
And so, I want to leave you with the one haunting question that hangs over this entire novel. After all the pain he goes through, and all the immense suffering he causes, what is Heathcliff? Is he a tragic, romantic anti-hero who is just twisted by a cruel world? Or is he, when all is said and done, simply a monster? That's the question Wuthering Heights leaves you to answer for yourself.